Right now, the NTSB is investigating, trying to figure out why this plane crashed at RDU today. This is a live look at RDU with the plane now up on the back of this tow truck. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Deborah Morgan.
And I'm Gerald Owens. This map shows the plane's flight from Wilmington to RDU International. You see it right there. The plane eventually ended up off the runway and on the grass. And Dr. Paul Chelminski, he was the passenger. He's out of the hospital tonight and he's in good condition. Art Johnson is the pilot. He's recovering at Duke Hospital.
We have live team coverage beginning with WRAL's Monica Casey at RDU. And Monica, good to know at least the two men seem to be on the path to recovery.
Yeah, Deborah, that's definitely some good news there. We have been in this spot or on top of the parking garage looking down at this plane all day, and this is some of the biggest change we have seen all day. You can see the plane now up on the tow truck. This is a single engine Cicada TBM 700. It is owned by Medical Air Inc. and operated by UNC Air Operations.
At the gate 15, we do have an aircraft down with damage.
Broadcastify radio traffic shows the moment first responders realized a plane had crashed at RDU.
2 souls on board, both injured. One still entrapped.
UNC Health tells WRAL that plane was piloted by Art Johnson, who has been with UNC since 2013. He was taken to Duke and was in fair condition. The plane was carrying Dr. Paul Chelminski. He is an internal medicine physician at UNC, coming back from giving a lecture at a Wilmington hospital. He was taken to UNC Hospital in Chapel Hill and has since been released. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Never, ever. Never, ever. And I was asking some people around here, had they seen anything like it? They've never seen anything like it either.
This RDU employee named Kurt works on the ramp. He tells me he didn't hear the crash. He knew something was wrong when he started seeing impacts to other flights.
That the routine schedule was off. Basically, I looked on my phone because I have an app to tell when the flights are coming in. And basically it said that it was delayed. And then come to find out this is why it's delayed.
RDU Airport Authority CEO Michael Landguth says the crash site is isolated enough that RDU has been able to continue operations for some of the airlines that usually only use Terminal 1's runway.
The team has figured out a way to get all the aircraft that are going to operate at Terminal 1, your southwest of Velos. We've got a crossover taxiway that we can actually get them through.
Some of the flights that were supposed to land here at RDU this morning were diverted to Greensboro and Charlotte. WRAL's Carly Haynes was actually diverted to Richmond this morning. Gerald?
Monica Casey live at RDU. Thank you, Monica. And for those people trying to land and take off on RDU, the crash caused massive delays. WRAL's Sean Gallagher has been there all day. And Sean, how long were the delays for these passengers?
Yeah, Gerald, it was just about 2 hours that flights were grounded here, and all of that resulting in more than 70 delays for passengers. But for the folks that I spoke to, when they learned why their planes were delayed, making those connections and any missed appointments went out the window. All of their concern went to those 2 men involved in the crash. Wednesday, all eyes were glued to the big board inside RDU as more and more flights changed from on time to delayed.
Just pulled into the rental car station, just seeing how much time I had, and all of a sudden it was 2 hours more than what I thought it was going to be.
Well, it's I think total it'll be about a 5-6 hour delay in total.
So I only have an hour in between my flight to Atlanta, and then I go to Peru.
NC State senior Madeline Jadek is looking forward to making memories at a wedding with family in Peru. But for a moment, her world stopped when she saw a text from a friend.
I freaked out because, she just texted and said there was a plane crash at RDU.
Many of the travelers I spoke to today ignored the annoyance of a flight delay when they learned someone might be hurt, putting their own lives into perspective.
I didn't even think about it affecting my flight, and I was scared that people were hurt, and it was a huge thing.
I guess it does put things in perspective when you're worried about getting a little late to a meeting or something. To think, about all the, the things you just take for granted, day in and day out.
I've been able to communicate with all my family and workmates and tell them what's going on.
Rachel and Charlie Gilbert were flying back home when the crash occurred. They left Hawaii yesterday at 6 a.m. So while the extra delay was initially a bother, they're glad everything wasn't worse.
It sounds like both people survived, so I'm glad to hear that. So it's that's all good. Those I mean, you wish those things didn't happen, but I'm just glad it wasn't more tragic than it was.
This is a very busy airport. There were more than 14.5 million people who passed through here last year, so delays like this impacted a ton of people. But Gerald, by noon, flights were taking off again.
All right, Sean Gallagher live at RDU. Thank you, Sean.
Brian Schrader is in the WRL Live Center. And Brian, you were up in Sky 5 earlier today during our breaking news coverage, and you're also looking now at the current delays and cancellations.
That's right. Last check, RDU is reporting 20 delays still this evening. That's way down from what we saw earlier this afternoon. As we take a look at those live pictures of the plane wreckage loaded up there, I want to take you to the map and show you what we believe happened. Using radar data from FlightAware, that plane was landing on runway 32. That's a general aviation runway on the east side of the airport. The wreckage that we could see from Sky 5 ended up on the other side of that main runway that runs along Terminal 1. As Deborah mentioned, I was up in WRL Sky 5 earlier this afternoon when the tower at RDU allowed us to fly over the scene. Here's a look at the damage that we could see.